Hey, welcome back to my channel researchers. In today's video, we are going to learn about different types of research papers. So whenever we are trying to publish a research paper, typically what do? We write the objectives, right? Then we collect the data and finally interpret it and analysis of data. This is the typical way of writing a research paper. However, there are number of ways in which we can categorize our research papers and different ways in which we can write it. So in this video we are going to discuss all these one by one, right? So briefly we can see that we have theoretical or conceptual research paper. Then we are going to discuss about analytical research paper, experimental, argumentative or persuasive, then survey based research paper. That is the most common type of research paper that we write, especially in social sciences, right? Next we have is a review paper, then cause and effect research paper, definition paper, compare and contrast paper, and lastly the case study. We are going to study all these types of research papers one by one with the help of the example, right? So very first kind of paper is a theoretical or the conceptual research paper. Okay, so this paper is not a typical kind of a paper where we conduct a experiment, a practical experiment, and then we write a paper, right? Rather it is based on the abstract or the concepts or idea. You try to develop new concepts or theories, right, that is based on observation and analysis of already presented information or any conducted research, right? So idea over here is to develop new theories or to interpret existing ones or to extend or modify or to reinterpret already existing theories, right? Example over here is that management and psychological theories. In this, what do? Either we try to reinterpret the existing theories or we try to develop new theories or concepts from already existing theories or concepts. I hope this is clear to you guys. Next kind of research paper is analytical research paper. In this, what happens is you analyze various facts, events, issues and ideas, right? So in this, what happens is firstly the researcher describes or studies about various viewpoints, theories of other researchers on a particular problem or the objective, and then analyze the data or information collected by him and finally draws the final conclusion, right? So what are the basic steps involved in analytical research paper? You pose a question, make some objectives, right? Collect relevant data from other researchers and then you analyze your viewpoints by collecting various kind of information, facts, events, issues or ideas, and finally you write the conclusion, right? So example could be analyzing the economic factors influencing consumer purchasing behavior. Clear? Now next kind of research paper is experimental research paper. Over this, what happens is you conduct experiments, right, and then write a research paper. Now in conducting an experiment, you need to study the previous literature, right? Then you set the objectives of the study, then formulate the hypothesis and then you test the hypothesis. And while writing, you have to describe everything about the experiments, right? Like from where all you have collected the data, what will be your sources of collection of data, right? The tools for collecting the data, so on and so forth. So these kinds of research papers are basically based on sciences, say physics, chemistry, biology, and sometimes they are also used in the social sciences also. Now the example could be investigating the relationship between temperature and electrical conductivity in metals, right? For conducting such an experiment, you need to have certain tools and certain methodology to be followed, right? You have to describe everything in the research paper. So the next kind of research paper is argumentative or persuasive research paper. Okay, so this kind of research paper presents two sides of controversial issue in one paper. Okay, so what happens is, firstly you have to cite findings and argument of different researchers on both the sides, right? And then you have to favor one of the sides with logical facts and statistical data and try to persuade the readers or the editors. Now this kind of research is usually encourages debate and critical thinking. This is based on critical thinking, right? Example could be, should access to college education be universally free for all the students or not? I hope this is clear to you guys. Now we are going to discuss about the survey based research paper. That is the typical and the most common research papers that are usually being published. So now what happens is that you conduct a survey by asking questions to a certain kind of respondents, and then you collect the data and then you interpret the responses given by the respondents, analyze the data and finally draw the conclusions. This kind of paper or the survey is usually used to collect the viewpoints or the attitudes, opinion, behavior or the characteristics of a particular group of people. And these type of surveys are commonly practiced in cross-sectional, longitudinal, qualitative and quantitative research, right? I have discussed these along with some other research designs in the video. Please go and check that video. I'm going to provide the link in the comment section. Please go and check that, right? Now what is cross-sectional? Cross-sectional is that we are collecting the data from the respondents at one point of time only, right? One point of time. And longitudinal is that I have collected data today and after say 3 months I am going to collect the data again from the same respondents on the same questions. This is the longitudinal, right? And qualitative means that cannot be measured in numbers. For example, you can ask about the viewpoints or the opinions from the respondents, and quantitative means that can be measured in terms of numbers. Clear? Example could be social science research to study the public opinion, attitude and trends from the respondents. Now next kind of paper that we are going to discuss is the review paper. In this what happens is that you try to summarize and analyze, or you can compare, identify common themes or the gaps in the knowledge by studying already existing literature. Okay, and you can also provide the future research. Various kinds of review paper can be meta-analysis, systematic review or the literature review. In literature review, you simply study about the previous literature without giving your own opinions, right? In systematic review, use a methodology and you study on one particular subject all the research papers that are existing. You give your viewpoints or the interpretations, right? Whereas in meta-analysis, you use the statistical tools on already existing research and then write the review paper. I have made a video on detailed that what are the various kinds of review paper. There are a number of review papers that you can write. So please go and check that video. Okay, now this kind of review papers are known as the secondary research because they are based on the already existing literature. Next kind of paper is the cause and effect research paper. Now in this we study why and what about say two variables or more than two variables, right? So there could be one independent variable, two independent variables, and its effect on the dependent variables. We try to explore the relationship between two or more variables. It could be in terms of events, actions, phenomenon, or how one variable influences other variables, right? Example could be investigating the effects of social media usage on mental health and interpersonal relationships. Next kind of a research paper is the definition paper. As the name suggests, we try to define a variable, a particular variable or a concept, right, by collecting factual information and then explaining it without the author's personal opinion, right? We try to explore on one broad topic and try to explain it in depth. These kind of research papers are basically used in sciences, technology, computers, history, politicals, science, health and medicine, engineering, etc. Example could be defining the term financial literacy and studying its role in investment decisions. Next type of paper is compare and contrast paper. In this, what do? We study the similarities and the differences between two or more subject or variables, the concepts, it could be theories or the phenomenon that is based on the critical thinking, right? Example could be analyzing similarities and differences between capitalism and socialism. Last kind of research paper for today is the case study, that is based on the data or event or subject that is based on the real life situation, right? Now these could be collected through interviews, observations, documents and the records. An example could be a case study of a successful marketing campaign on strategies that was used by any say multinational corporation. So in case study, what do? We choose a particular real life situation and we go in depth to study it and then we write it. This is the case study, right? I hope you have learned something and enjoyed this video. If yes, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a nice day.